You know the deal, Trevor. Every week, musical intro. Do something really spontaneous and stupid, and I love it, and the fans love it. So
I was a little inspired today by my dress. It's like I feel like Rob Lowe when I'm working on my house. I feel like Rob Lowe when I'm working on my shoes. I feel like this nipple when I'm working in the shoes in the news.
that is the worst one you've done so far. I think it's the worse than the one you did when you were kneeling during the Monster Mash or or national anthem.
The police tried to detain me
For kneeling during our national anthem. The Marshall Masters,
the Marshall Mathers Mash.
The true Monster Mash, Eminem's revival.
Marshall Masher.
Welcome everyone to the Anthony and Todd Show. I'm your host, Vincent, aka Vincent, aka the forgotten carton of ice cream at the back of your freezer, aka the phase in your life where you have to roll up the tube of toothpaste and it takes a long fucking forever to get just a little bit of toothpaste.
Is that where you are now?
Yeah, that's my phase of my life currently. Just so much work to just get that little juice, that little speck of
Juice paste.
juice paste. And I'm joined like always by my co-host Trevor, who's my best friend, my pal, my amigo, aka na boo boo head, aka I think we made it. I don't think we made our Class of 3000 reference this year, so blah blah blah. Cartoon Network make a season 3 of Class of 3000. Blah blah blah. Aka the Fat Kurt Cobain theory. Do you know the Fat Kurt Cobain theory?
No, I don't like Kurt Cobains.
So there's this theory out there on the internet somewhere that Kurt Cobain actually never died. He just stopped being depressed. It just got really happy and couldn't find motivations for his music and just got really fat. He's just living somewhere really fat. That's the Fat Kurt Cobain
really
theory.
Stupid.
It's just a dumb theory. I think it was inspired by a Family Guy episode.
So whose body was in the garage?
Girl, you sure are brainsy. What are you, Kurt Cobain's drywall?
Almost.
Is that almost a joke?
Almost.
How's the joke go?
Are you Kurt Cobain's garage wall? Because, girl, you sure are brainy.
That's pretty much what I just said.
You said drywall or something about
Well, do you have drywall in your garage?
brainsy. No.
Girl, you sure are Banksy.
Girl, you sure are Kurt Cobain's.
Kurt Cobain you for that joke.
You're
This is
welcome.
episode 28 of the Anthony and Todd Show, an episode we would like to call
I have drank the black milk that was in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast.
Can you explain the joke?
It's this poem about plums in the icebox by William Carlos William. It's called This Is Just to Say.
How did you discover this poem?
I read it in English class a couple years ago, and I've always remembered it.
We got a great episode planned for you this week. We're reviewing 4 projects: Rejjie Snow's Dear Annie, DeVry University's 3-3, or Dabry, or
Thank you.
Debris, or
Driftwood.
It's not it's not like oot where I can just say it a bunch of dumb ways and always be wrong about it. It's Debray, Dabray,
It's Dabry.
Dabray. Black Milk's Fever, and U.S. Girls in a Poem Unlimited. And we're also starting our quest, our Kanye quest, a new segment where we're going over the entire Kanye West discography. Starting this week, we're continuing it through the history or through the series of the podcast. I can't speak today. Apparently, I just need to stop. But yeah, we're gonna be starting a new series where we go over Kanye West albums. I'm really excited for that. He's one of our personal favorites. As I point to your nipple because it has a I feel like Pablo logo over it.
It's amazing.
You ready to talk about Rejjie Snow?
Let's do it.
So this was suggested by your boy Samuel Putt. He suggested he wanted us to review this album. He wanted to hear our opinions on it. So now we're gonna give him our opinions. Rejjie Snow is a rapper and producer from Dublin, Ireland. This is his first studio album, and it's an album that contains tracks from 2 previously released EPs called Dear Annie Part 1 and Dear Annie Part 2. Those 2 EPs made up 8 tracks out of the 20 on this album, and we're pretty much going into this completely blind. Like, I have no idea who Rejjie Snow is.
No, I've
pretty
never
much.
heard of him. He wrote his own Wikipedia page.
Did he?
It like goes way too in depth about his life that like nobody would have known except for him. It's like in high school, Rejjie Snow competed in many athletics, and he released his debut AP, and it soared to above Kanye West and J. Cole on the iTunes hip hop charts. And I was like, congratulations, Rejjie Snow, on writing your own page.
Rejjie Snow's favorite meal is tater tots.
That's literally like, that's what it was.
It's literally like he updates it every day.
I think he does.
As like a journal.
He's like, just kidding. I changed my mind.
I like salad
now. On February 13th, 2015, Rejjie Snow took the subway to work.
Okay, so we're going in this completely blind, but... Oh no, my phone went off. But we're going in this completely blind, but Trevor listened to this before me. Don't mess with my notes. How dare you mess with my notes? You bastard. You cheeky bastard. You need to stop. I'm calling you out right here, right now.
Why don't you turn the sound off?
I just did. Oh no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I am wrong about that. I forgive you, but don't touch my phone, you boy. You don't know where this phone's been. It's been up my butt. Shove the entire phone up my anal cavity.
I'm impressed.
Or you better be. So Trevor listened to this album before me, and literally he gave me the spark notes to it of saying it just sounds like Tyler the Creator, or it's very heavily influenced by Tyler the Creator. I think it was your actual quote, and nothing much more than that. Overall, I think there are some really good moments on this album, but there overall really isn't too much to write home about besides like a couple brief moments, I think. But like the couple brief moments, I like them, but besides one in particular, which we'll get into, which is very, very special, other tracks sound like just collaboration, or not collaboration, but like blended versions of other artists. Like, I think Rejjie sounds like if you took Aminé, Tyler the Creator, Rex Orange County, and Amir Van and put them in a blender and just synthesized it. That type of sound is what you get across the entire album. You get very synth-like Tyler the Creator production. It reminds me a lot of that Tree Dome 95 track he had on Wolf and a lot of the other production he had on Wolf. But Tree Dome 95 in particular, because I feel like a lot of the synths that appear on that track appear on like over the course of this entire album. You get interludes that sound like bits that were on Flower Boy with the radio host, instead of this time it's like the world that they take place in actually doesn't like make any sense, and it's really weird. I don't understand how it works.
I don't understand it.
I'll get into that a little bit more later. And overall, every like guest feature sounds like a feature Tyler would have, or is a feature Tyler has had. Anna of the North appears on this project. Couple of the other appearances that show up on this album just sound like collaborators that Tyler's worked with before. Rex Orange County, to name one. There's an artist on this project that just sounds like a synthesized version of Rex Orange County.
Pretty much.
And I like this. I liked that sound. Flower Boy was my favorite album of last year. I like that sound, but I don't like that sound if you don't do anything unique with it. I feel like Rejjie a lot of the time is just kind of searching for his own sound or his own twist on the style and is unable to find it, and is kind of disappointing because of that. Like, I wanted to like this album because I did like a lot of the moments on production, because I thought it was really smooth, it was really calm, it was really soothing. But like in the third act, it switches from like smoothing and calm and almost jazz like just like dumb and stupid. At times it's really fun. Charlie Brown, to name a moment, which the production actually matches this like stupid fun production actually matches the lyrics and the sound and like the vocal performances. Mm-hmm. But in the rest of the album, I don't get that. I think it's just like, this album is an hour long, does not need to be an hour long. I think I say about too many projects nowadays. But I think if you synthesize like 30 minutes from this, it would have been way better, but there's just too much shit on this. There's too much of the same sound. Even on the first 2 acts where it is really calm, really soothing, it's just way too much of that one sound. And on the third act, it's such a clash from the first. There's nothing artistic about it. So there's no artistic clash or reason for it to be there. It's just kind of dumb. The album just kind of ends. The narrative that they're building on this project, that Rejjie's building about this Annie chick that he's broken up with, I don't really understand it.
No, let's be honest here. It's non-existent.
It's pretty much like
100% non-existent.
It's like there's elements of it existing, but I don't think it's done to its fullest. Yeah, I really wished that I like this, but I don't. I think it's just Rejjie tries to go for a contemporary, like, indie hip hop jazz sound that's heavily influenced by Tyler or Rex Orange, or even like maybe like Brockhampton, I would say, and just fails sometimes just because it either is too boring or it's not exciting, and it's kind of a letdown. What do you think about this?
Basically, like what I told you is this is essentially like a Tyler the Creator. I would even include like Nerd in there, or Chance even, kind of blender.
Yeah.
You know, as I've said in the past, like if you're gonna borrow from the best.
And Tyler is one of the best, I would have to say. But
at least that's what he's proved in this past year. If you're gonna borrow from the best, but I feel like you should do something with it.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. He doesn't move the narrative. He doesn't move the sound in the way that it needs to be moved. Are there good things on here? Absolutely. Tracks like 23 with Caroline Smith.
Yeah.
It sounds like something off of Flower Boy, and that's about the most I can say about it.
Her and Rejjie have such a great charisma together.
Oh, they do.
Like Tyler has with a lot of artists. Chemistry. So like
which is absolutely necessary. Pink Lemonade, very much so 90s inspired. Camo B he's a lot of fun to listen to on here. Tracks like The Rain, it sounds like a Milo or a Madlib beat, which I actually think a Milo feature would have done pretty well here. And I don't say that very often.
It fits that like slow style.
Yeah,
Milo.
Very much so. Really smooth and lo-fi. And then, of course, our favorite track on here, Charlie Brown, featuring Ann of the North, just smooth as butter. Vocals, unbelievably catchy.
How can you describe this song? This song is, first of all, it's this cover, or like the first 2 verses and the hook is a cover of this Irish band Republic of the Loose, this track called The Steady Song, which is absolutely like stupid. It's so stupid, like talking about like your mom licking my balls, and then I brought heroin to your school.
Amazing.
But then immediately Rejjie, when the track switches up to like non-covered material, Rejjie responds with COOL. You brought heroin to my school. It doesn't rhyme, but it's so stupid and fun that I love it. Rejjie and Anna work really well together,
and they're both Irish too, so like if they did a cover of this song, everybody would know it. This was like one of the top rating songs ever made on Irish radio. Like everybody would know this song if they did a cover of it. But it's unbelievably catchy, really stupid but like forgivable lyrics, especially in the midst of something that I think Dear Annie takes itself too seriously sometimes.
I think this track is stupid and it's catchy and I love it, but it also breaks the atmosphere of what the album already established, and I hate it for that. So even the best moment has like a huge fucking error to it. So this album has a lot of flaws to it. It does take itself way too seriously. Going into the little narrative about him and this girl Annie and these little radio segments that play. First of all, I don't understand the world that this is, because I think they call it the world of Annie or something like
The
that.
Wonderful World of Annie.
Like, is that a radio show? Like, what the fuck? What the hell?
Are they in an actual world? I
Like,
didn't understand
Bandit.
that at all.
It's just like Tyler Creator on Flower Boy. It was golf radio, and golf radio is an established thing. It's an established IP.
It was in GTA.
Yeah, it's like it's an actual thing, and it would make sense. Shane Powell was a part of it because Shane Powell was actually a part of golf radio, so it makes sense. Like that world building aspect makes sense, even though I don't think they take like fan calls, but like that made sense in Tyler, but like in this, it just doesn't make sense, and I feel like it just becomes redundant. There's like 3 of these, and by the 3rd one, I'm just like, "What? You've done this 2 times, and you've literally said the same thing."
They don't
and
make any sense.
He literally sounds like Rex Orange County, just like talking normally how Rex Orange County talks. It's probably because he's from the UK, and I think everyone from the UK sounds the same apparently. New year, new beef. But I just don't. I think it's redundant. I think the best moments on this album have like terrible flaws to them. Again, going to like 23 just sounds like a Tyler track. All the best moments on this just sound like Tyler.
I mean, again, isn't
like,
horrible.
It's not bad, but at the same time, he's
part
not.
of the flaws are that Flower Boy is probably the most heavily influenced, or I guess biggest influence of Rejjie Snow is that album alone. Flower Boy is Tyler's like what 4th or 5th album.
Yeah.
He's been around for a little while, establishing his brand, establishing his name, establishing things like golf, or Odd Future that he like came from. You know, these are all big established things that he was already a part of. Rejjie Snow coming in and making his debut album based off of somebody else's like 5th album and life's work isn't gonna pan out as well. You know,
Yeah.
he can't do things like let's just call the radio station The Wonderful World of Annie. He can't do things like The Wonderful World of Annie without building up that name and name recognition among his fans. Because let's face it, at this point, he doesn't have as big of a fan base. You know, he doesn't have a huge fan base at this point.
Yeah. Tyler took time to build that. Rejjie did not.
Didn't no.
So
he's almost trying to like bank off of that.
And
it doesn't always come around to bite him, because at worst things like 23 or Pink Lemonade are Tyler tracks.
Yeah.
Things like The Rain are Milo tracks, and things like Charlie Brown at worst is a cover, but they're still
things like Charlie Brown are just stupid, but it's like they're enjoyable.
They're all enjoyable.
Some other things, literally on The Rain, Tyler. I didn't hate this, but just to go back to how much he's taking influence, literally, Rejjie sounds with his lower pitch vocals sounds like Tyler. It's just like he's not even trying to cover it at one point. And then there's another moment later on. Let me see if I can remember what it was called. But it literally just takes some of the chords. It just literally takes some of the chords from Boredom. And it also, it sounds very similar to Only One too. And like, it's just like, why? Like, it like, you already sound like Tyler, and there's like, it's okay to like be open about it, but like, it's not okay. Yeah, on the track Désolé, literally the chords are just
French song.
Yeah. And we get like these French vocals because I think Annie is French, but like they don't really serve a purpose. And I wish they did, because I like every time there is some French vocals, I like how they sound.
They sound very smooth. Well, I guess that's kind of how the French language is. But it's
like
very, it's really interesting.
Nice feel. One track we forgot to mention, Egyptian Lover, which features Dana Williams and Aminé, and is also produced by Kate Tronada.
Yep.
The synths that Kate Tronada uses, this is gonna sound dumb, are very Kate Tronada-esque synths. They don't sound like Tyler synths. No. So I that's one of the reasons
he adds his own kind of flair.
That's why I like that track so much, because the synths are same but different. Like they're not just the same synths over and over again.
Same.
Everyone flows together real well. I thought having Aminé and Rejjie on the same track, even though they kind of sound the same, would be terrible. Actually, I actually were able to distinguish how they sounded, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Ebenezer, who pops up on the track Spaceships. I don't think I like the production, or I like Rejjie's flow, but I do like Ebenezer's vocals. They're just so impassioned. It's so much fun that I do enjoy them. But overall, I gotta say the worst track is LMFAO, which has this build up of one of the Wonderful World of Annie radio
That was
show
so
thingy.
pointless. Why did they bother doing the radio skit before that? And they're like, "Oh, Rejjie Snow, what is this song about?" And he goes, "Oh, mate, I don't really know." And he goes, "It was just kind of me being stupid." And then all of a sudden we're in this god-awful track that has nothing to do with anything. Awful songwriting, not like a hook that's trying so hard to be catchy and an earworm and stick in your head, but it's just the complete opposite. I hated that track.
So first of all, no sexy and I know it, so 0 out of 10.
LMFAO were a force to be reckoned with back in the day.
They kind of were. I'm
I
not
know,
going to disagree with
I
that.
know.
I don't know why. Looking back, it was terrible. But in high school, I thought it was good for some reason.
I liked it.
Let me go into some of the terrible lines on this track. She say bonjour, bonsoir. I like eggs.
Did you say bonsoir?
Isn't that what he says?
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. I can't.
I like eggs. I say I like FIFA and I like sex. I say Jesus D's nuts.
I kind of like that one actually.
This is awful. Like, so repetitive. He like didn't even bother to write.
They're corny ass lines. Like, it sounds like something a fifth grader would write as like a joke, but like he's writing it like seriously. And like one of the more, I think, should be more emotional moments on the track because it does have the lead up because of the radio shit.
It should.
I don't
That was
know.
a huge waste, I think, of a skit. If you're gonna do a skit, at least have it lead into something good. Don't have Rejjie sit there and literally just tell the audience, "I don't know what this song is about. I was just messing around. It's about nothing." And then here we are. We wasted a skit, and you wasted our time with a track leading up into it.
Yeah, but that's really all I gotta say about this album. I think there's some good moments on this project, but even the good moments have like these huge flaws to them. I'm still gonna listen to Egyptian Lover. I'm still gonna listen to Charlie Brown after this because I do like those tracks, but there's a lot of stuff I never want to like hear again because I just don't think it's like worth listening to. I think this album is very smooth for the first 2/3, and if it was smooth for like the entire project, I feel like I would listen to it more because it would just be a nice listen to have in the background while you're like working on shit. I wouldn't like be paying attention or anything, but it would be one of those nice albums. But like because of the third is so different, I think you can't have it on in the background. Too much like Tyler, too much like Amir Van, too much like Aminé, too much like Rex Orange County, too much like a lot of other artists, and I don't think he does enough with his own. In the end, favorite tracks: 23, Peak Lemonade, Egyptian Lover, Charlie Brown. Least favorites: LMFAO, and this should not be an album long. This should be an hour long. It's just, the album kind of ends. There's no real narrative. The skits don't make any sense.
That was huge for me, is that the narrative didn't build on itself at all. It's obviously called Dear Annie. It's got tracks called Annie. It's got tracks called Dear Annie, The Wonderful World of Annie. We're on this radio show, but Rejjie Snow offers absolutely no insight into what's going on. You would have to look it up to find out what's going on, which, like, an album should be self-contained, I think.
Yeah.
But it's or at least have enough information to know what's going on. But being a debut album and having absolutely no information leading up to who Annie is, what Annie did, who's the girl on the cover, is that Annie? You know, like what's going on?
Someone tweeted, and it was in the Genius. Someone tweeted that the person on the cover looked like King Cruel.
No, that's in a single. That's in a single. Not the main album cover.
I know, but he looks...
King Cruel is the girl on the cover.
Yes.
All right. So Rejjie Snow, why don't you just come out and tell us that?
He also references King Cruel in this album, so...
He does.
And he doesn't say, I have depression, so 0 out of 10.
Depression.
That's the only reference you should be making to King Cruel.
All right. So what's your score?
I think I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
I went ahead and gave it a 6.5.
Yeah. I do have moments I like from this, but like a majority of this I don't want to like come back to. Okay, and that's the review. Rejjie, I hope you find yourself. That's all I gotta say. I
Find
like,
your own sound.
Find your own
Mate.
sound. Mate. Chap. What was I don't know why we did that.
Because he's Irish.
Irish. Glug glug glug. Other Irish stereo. I hope you have a nice St. Patrick's Day. That's like your Christmas, I think.
That's good
right?
stuff.
I know about other cultures. Us Americans are smart.
Smart.
Ready to dab re? No, are you ready to dab ray?
Are you ready to dab read?
Are you ready to go to Dabre University?
University. Let's go.
Debris is a producer from Ann Arbor, Michigan. 3-3 is his sixth studio album and is the last in the trilogy of the Out of 3 series, starting with 1 out of 3 in 2001 and followed with 2 out of 3 in 2006. 3 out of 3 is the current album we are reviewing. Last October, he dropped the track The Appetite featuring Rock Marciano, Danny Brown, and Quelly Chris. I liked Quelly Chris and Danny Brown, and when reviewing this project, I realized I hate Rock Marciano. I think I was able to see past that before, but
yeah, Martini on the Rocks was kind of boring.
Yeah,
they give him 2 super long verses, and it just
he sounds like Cold Keith, but I want to get into that till later.
Was cool.
We'll talk about it. Then the track that blew me fucking away and got me really hyped from this album because I thought the production on it was good. I thought the guest was on it was good. I thought this was how the album was gonna be set up: hype guest over hype ass beats, little motherfuckers with Doom. Just one of Doom's best performances in years.
Absolutely.
In years.
We've returned to form. This
beats anything he dropped last year. Hands down, any of the fucking B-side shit he dropped on the what was it? The Unholy Note? No, it wasn't.
The Notebook.
The Notebook something. I think there was a word before Notebook, but I can't remember. It's not even a thing anymore. But I was really excited. I was really interested going to this. Never listened to a Debray project, Dabre.
Missing Notebook.
The Missing Notebook. I'd never listened to one of his projects before, and I was really excited to listen to this because the Doom track was good. I thought The Appetite had Danny Brown and Quelly Chris's performance was good, and I was interested going into this. But after going into this, I thought there's a lot of interesting characters on this project. Again, Quelly Chris, Doom, Quelly Chris, Danny Brown, Doom, Rock Marciano. John Wayne's on this project, Ghostface Killer's on this project. There's a lot of other people I can mention, but I feel like because the production is kind of lackluster. No, the production is lackluster on this project. For one, doesn't progress, isn't really unique except for little motherfuckers. The characters on this project cannot shine through. John Wayne is a very, very punchy / unique performer, and on his track he's not able to shine through. The beat that he's over does not suit him whatsoever, and it just kind of repeats. Also, the mixing's kind of poor on a lot of the tracks on this album, so a lot of the guests just feel like outweighed by the beat, and I don't care for it that much. There's no unifying elements, no narrative, which I didn't expect a narrative, but I did expect something unifying, like Orange, how on The Ordinary Man, a recent producer-only project, where he had this little narrative he built of sound clips of this ordinary man figure that I really, really enjoyed. The Magician, I think it was called.
The Magician.
What was he called? The Ordinary Man.
He was the Magician.
Okay, I don't know. I said the Ordinary Man figure. But yeah, this album's like an hour long. Does not need to be
it's
in
like
it.
40.
Oh, was it?
40 minutes.
I think I meant to say 40 minutes. It's 40 minutes long. Does not need to be 40 minutes. And I think overall, it's just not something I want to listen to, and I'm kind of disappointed by it. I thought there was a lot of good that could be had on this project, but in the end, I'm kind of just like feeling like I wasted my time by listening to it. I did not really care for this. I don't think it's the worst thing I listened to this year by any means, but I just did not enjoy it. I know you feel differently than me, so I'm gonna let you have the floor.
I actually enjoyed 3-3 quite a bit. And contrary to what Vincent says or believes, I think Dabri is a really talented producer. Obviously inspired by the likes of the Avalanches and huge inspiration for him, Jay Dilla. The death of Jay Dilla and his mother combined kind of made him take this hiatus of like 12 years. And then finally he came back to finish his work. I think that I almost think that Dabri brought together a lot of these are more Detroit based MCs
Yeah.
and producers, I guess, together to work on this, with the exception being Doom. What?
What?
Oh, never mind.
Doom's from Detroit.
Doom lived in Toledo, Ohio.
Doom actually lives in the nearest dumpster, and you summon him. He comes from the grime, the filth. He comes.
Every time somebody needs him, he comes out of the dumpster.
So he technically lives everywhere. He lives in the grimes that are in all cities, the grimiest spots.
Yes.
Not being a grime artist, but he's just filthy.
He's dirty.
He needs to take a bath.
But I almost feel like when there's a bigger name on the track, Dabri almost tries harder to meet the needs of that artist. But when they are not as well known and he knows that they probably won't do as good of a job, he tones down a little bit and kind of saves his talents. It's almost like when you play an RPG and you can level up like different areas of your skill tree. Well, like, he wanted to like save some of his points for higher artists, so he like only used a few of them on lower artists. But I mean, I've got to say, like, tracks like Little Motherfuckers with Doom, tracks like The Appetite with Rock Marciano, Quelly Chris, and Denny Brown, tracks like Pretty with John Wayne. I think these are like big areas for this album. This is huge ground for this. Best Doom performance in years. I loved hearing Quelly Chris and Denny Brown like finally collab over a beat
Apparently
that sounds
they have
like an arcade machine.
Apparently they have another collab somewhere. I forget what track it is, but someone tweeted that it's finally good to have a Danny Brown and Quelly Chris collab, and Quelly Chris responded with 2 collabs.
Quelly Chris needs to back up. John Wayne's track, his track record at this point is near perfect. Like, he's just killed everything in this past year and this year.
I don't think John Wayne... I think his performance on this is kind of... It's not bad. It's just not his best. And I do not like the production he's over, so I just feel like he just doesn't... It just does not work for me. The Appetite with Rock Marciano, Quelly Chris, and Danny Brown. Reason I don't like the track. So there's this track that was released a year ago, called Superhero or Superheroes by Kool Keith. And it features Doom. And literally some of the production just sounds a lot like it. Rock Marciano just sounds like Kool Keith in general. And he has 2 long verses that I feel like are not as goofy or as stupid as maybe some of Kool Keith's work, or as funny. I think they're just kind of lame and lackluster, and I wanted him to go away. Quelly Chris on the hook. On the hook, I don't really care for Quelly Chris. In his verse, I think he's fine. Danny Brown at the end is just doing what Danny Brown fucking does and just screeches, and I love it. And like, never stop doing that because you saved that track for me. Little Motherfuckers with Doom. That track just takes my fucking breath away every time I listen to it. Just the sample at the beginning with like, I think it's a clip from like a Superman cartoon.
It's a Superman.
It's like, light up the world, Daddy. Light up the world.
It's a Christmas cartoon.
Yeah, and then the production. I feel like Dabri went out of his way to make a fucking fat beat that complimented Doom, or a beat that was like tailored to Doom. I felt like this was a Doom beat just made by him.
It was made for him.
It was essentially just made for him. Just like going over some of the like bars on this line, on this like album or on this track. I don't know why it took me so long to say that. Wild ass child rappers that need a timeout, cut off allowances and take away the toys. You think that's harsh? It's even worse for the boys. Whoop that ass in front of your friends, then drag them back by the earlobe. Like, don't do that again. Now get to them chores.
Don't do that again.
Don't do that again. Now get to them chores, or else you can hit the blunt for a month, and you're grounded. No outside, no out front. No outside, no out front. Line is just. It's my favorite line, one of my favorite lines of the year so far. But that track's amazing. But like nothing on this album gives me that feel. Ghostface Killer on Emancipated. Oh wait, before I get to that, Tape Flip 2 is where I actually see your Avalanches reference. I don't really see Jay Dilla.
I absolutely see. This is very
don't
much so donuts.
I don't see Jay Dilla anywhere in this album. I do see Avalanches on Tape Flip 2. That reminds me of a very Since I Left You track.
Yeah.
But I'm emancipated with Ghostface Killer. Ghostface is just quiet because the mixing isn't that good. He doesn't fit over the high-pitched synth sample. His character can't shine through. Ghostface is a very unique voice in hip-hop, and he has a very distinctive voice. And when I don't feel that on the track, even if it's bad, I usually feel like this is a Ghostface bar. And this I don't feel like Ghostface bar. I feel like it's a copy of a Ghostface. Like someone, like he went to the office copy machine. I told you this reference earlier, so I'm gonna do it again. This fucking metaphor again. So Ghostface went to company's office machine, his copy machine. He put his butt cheeks on the copy machine and then faxed it to someone else, and someone else got a copy of Ghostface Killer's shitty ass, but it's sent through a fax machine, so it's a bit more distorted, but it doesn't really look like an ass at this point because something fucked up on the fax machine. Yeah, that's what this is. That metaphor makes no sense, but I love it, so I'm going to keep on saying it and acting like it made some sense. Did not make any sense. It's completely stupid, but I love that metaphor to death. I'm proud of that one. But Ghostface Killer on Emancipated is not good. The lame synth sample repeats itself to death and becomes annoying. A lot of the tracks on this album have no progression to them, and I just kind of wish they stopped. Some other moments. Electrocutor is probably my least favorite track on this album. It's only like a minute something, but it's like it's a lame, almost industrial beat sampling a bass in metal, a bass drum in metal. Sorry, and there's like no progression to it, and it just like, why is this here? This is the only track that sounds like that. It just kind of sticks out.
Yeah.
I think. One of the other moments I really liked Nova, Nolan and Ninja. I think Nolan was actually able to shine through on that track. I think his charisma was able to shine through. I like the piano that's on the track. I really like Nolan's line, heavyweight like Kevin Norton, my statue is that of Randy Orton. That's a great fucking line. But Nolan's able to shine through. And another one that's actually someone else that I think is going to shine through is Sisfo Riding with Clear Soul Forces. They're quiet, but overall I really like their performance. I like their use of onomatopoeia. They're just like doing these weird ad-libs and shit, making all these weird sounds. They have a very enthralling performance. I like the synth of the beat. It's not the best production, but I don't think they're really truly fit over it, but I like their performance. I think it's so strong that it's able to actually outdo the beat. And then finally, the first Law of Nature Rock Day with Denmark Vesey. Flows really well. Denmark feels on top of the track. I think the mixing's okay. And then that's it.
It sounds like your main problem is the mixing. But like the mixing didn't bother me. So all these tracks that you're talking about are tracks that I have enjoyed. Plus a couple that you didn't mention. Fight Sing with LaPiece. I enjoyed that one a lot. Just a very like dreamy, floaty beat with like super catchy lyrics. And Stranded with Fat Father. That was super like bouncy and fun and carefree, summertime feeling track all around. And I've definitely listened to that quite a few times since the album came out. Really, the only tracks I absolutely hated, Bubble Up with Fat Cat. It literally is just the poor man's fight scene. Like, it literally has so similar of lyrics and so similar of a layout that it's not even worth having on the album. And I didn't like the Culture Shuffle with Cadence intricate dialect and Silas Green, so it was really spaced awkwardly. Other than that, when you're saying artists are too quiet,
I just
the
think
production was too
it's either they're too
I guess.
quiet or the production just doesn't fit them, or it's just not like they shouldn't be over that beat. They just shouldn't be there, or they're not really enthralling enough, or they don't seem interested. Ghostface, part of the problem wasn't just the mixing; he just didn't feel like he wanted to be there. MF Doom, like, he seemed tired, but he was also like, he gave a good performance. Like, MF Doom in the last like 2 years has been super tired over like anything he's been over, and I think that's one of my problems with a lot of his bars, is he just seems like he's asleep. But on this, he does seem tired, but like what he's delivering us is so strong that it doesn't matter if it's tired or not. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the performances on this are just kind of lackluster. I think a lot of the production on this is kind of lackluster. I would not listen to any of the instrumentals to this on their own without the features, and that's a problem for a producer-based hip-hop album if you rely on your features to so much. Like, take, again, Avalanches. Wildflower has a lot of features on it, but I would listen to that album regardless of the features were on or not.
No, there's less features than on here.
Yeah, but like this album, it's built up of its features. Even La Orange last year, The Ordinary Man, we complained that they're like, we would have liked to seen some more features, but they weren't really necessary. But even the beats on their own, we would listen to those without the features. This, I need the features because they're the only parts that really redeem the track. Besides Little Motherfuckers, I think that beat's the only one that's like on its own, like truly a progressive beat that like flows really well through the 3 minutes or 2 minutes is given.
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean.
But like the mixing's a part of it, the production's a part of it, the performances are a part of it. And in the end, the only people that really shine through, Quelly Chris, just in his verse, Danny Brown, and Doom. And Denmark Varsity, and Clear Soul Forces, or whatever they're called. But like, I feel like, in the end, I feel like everyone could have done better besides Doom. Because I think Doom's verse is like near perfect.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. And Danny Brown didn't need to prove either.
So what's your score?
Are you ready?
Sure.
Holding on. In the end, I'm just gonna give this 5.1. I didn't care for it. I don't want to listen to anything besides Little Motherfuckers again. It's not something I'm interested in. I'm not interested in this hip hop style that I think is very repetitive, and there's nothing that interests me. We'll talk about Black Milk later, and this is like, I enjoyed that more than this, but like, in the end, I think that suffers from a lot of problems with this, but like on the opposite scale, in the verses instead of in the production, because production's holding it back, and some of the verses are able to save this. The other one, the production is really good, solid throughout, but the verses are what holding it back. Weirdly enough, I don't know. But
so they should collab.
Maybe.
I'm giving this album a 7.5 because I enjoyed it quite a bit, and there's a lot of tracks on here that I think I'll still be listening to, way after this whole album has blown over, I think. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I guess the production doesn't bother me as much as it did bother you, because I still see like a lot of influences of EDM style music, or even like J Dilla or the Avalanches. I think that they shine through quite a bit, and I think that the features are, I think that they did a good job for what it was worth. Now there's like obviously some that are very forgettable that I won't listen to again, but for the bigger name people, these are all tracks that I would continue to find myself listening to in the coming months.
Okay, so we're introducing a new segment, a new weekly segment, or bi-weekly, or whenever we do it, essentially, segment on the show called Kanye Quest. Basically, each week we're going to be going through an album, mixtape, compilation album, something through Kanye's West discography. There's going to be 12 weeks of this. I already counted it out. That's how long it's going to take to get through all of this. We're going to go through a lot of stuff, everything from his mixtape days all the way to Life of Pablo, and maybe something after Life of Pablo if that comes out. Well, if we're still working on this, but TurboGrafx 16 maybe.
It's coming.
Hopefully. But how do you introduce Kanye West? Kanye West is a rapper, producer from Chicago, and he's one of the most popular and influential and at times infamous rappers in hip-hop history. We talked about Kanye a plethora of times before and how he's an artist that has changed his style throughout his entire career. We debated which album is his best, but now we want to have a definitive answer which Kanye project is the best, and over the course of his career, how did he progress? And what is this historical context to each project? What is the essential history of Kanye West? What is the bare bones history that you need to know about Kanye West, or could know about Kanye West? So we're going on this quest through a majority of his discography, listing off our opinions on each piece of Kanye history, or giving our opinions on each piece, giving Kanye's history and his progression. So we're covering 12 projects, or at least we're having 12 episodes. Kanye has way more mixtapes and compilations that we're not covering. I left off our Academics Genius Level Music Volumes 1 and 2 because I felt like it was a lot of redundant material. Con the Louis Vuitton Don came around the same period and had a lot of the same material that's on that. And the Freshman Adjustment Volume 1, 2, and 3 are essentially compilations that have a lot of live performances and some remix tracks that I don't think are essential to Kanye's history and do not show any progression. They're redundant and are not needed. So I cut them. So we are going to be covering 12 projects that show off a definitive history of Kanye West, starting with Get Well Soon, his first, or if not one of his first mixtapes, followed by I'm Good, followed with his first studio album, College Dropout, followed with his second, Late Registration, his last mixtape, Can't Tell Me Nothing, which led into Graduation, one of our personal favorites, followed with 808 Heartbreaks, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. We're also going to be covering Good Fridays, Watch the Throne, and finally, Kanye West presents Good Music, Cruel Summer, followed by Yeezus, and then followed by The Life of
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe, yeah, that's it. So yeah, what bit do you have planned for me?
Yeah, so I wrote a D&D campaign. I've never played D&D ever. I actually, my only knowledge of D&D comes from the Adventure Zone. If you've never heard that, do you listen to the McElroy brothers? They have a podcast, and the three brothers and their dad all play D&D together, and it's super funny. I listen to it when I'm not listening to albums. And so I wrote a campaign based off of what I know about it. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Wait, what's your character's name?
Can I just pick whatever?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
And what race is he?
Like, can it be like something is like Skyrim races where I could just be a
Kinda.
fucking like a lizard person?
Sure.
Oh, okay, I know my name. Big Trev the Refrigerator
You
Kid.
can't be me. I'm the dungeon master.
Big Vin the Refrigerator Kid. No, Father Stretch my Big Fred the Father Stretch my Big Trev the Refrigerator Kid Part 2.
Okay. Okay. What race are you?
Yeezy.
Okay.
That's my race, I guess.
Our quest begins in a tavern in an unknown city. You're not allowed to look. You have to look that way. This is your imagination. Close your eyes. You awake in a cold sweat, only to find you are sleeping on the bar counter. The bar is lively, filled with creatures of many races. Goblins, dwarves, wizards, and adventurers of all shapes and sizes. It is extremely loud, but over all the commotion you hear a soothing voice. Do you want something to drink? You look over to see none other than rapper-producer extraordinaire Kanye West. He's wearing a suit of armor and has a sword in its harness on his side. He looks at you as if he has known you all his life. You don't know what to say and orders you a drink on him. You can't do anything but stare at him. He notices, looks at you softly, and laughs. I bet you're wondering why I'm here, he says. I'm on my way home to the faraway land of Chicago. It's truly a sight to behold, but the road there is treacherous. The bartender brings you your drink. Starstruck, you take it from the counter and can do nothing else but hold it as Kanye continues to talk. There lies many dangers ahead on the path to Chicago, dangers unknown to many humans. Those who face them rarely come back to tell the tale, but alas, I must go. He turns to leave, then hesitates, turning back towards you. He looks you over from head to toe, taking in every last bit of you. You know, I could use a travel companion, he finally says. Would you care to join me? If we make it, you'll never have to worry about money again. Before you have a chance to answer him, he shuffles you out the door and into the city streets. You exit the town gates and begin on the beaten path towards the forest. You've barely made it 20 yards outside the city premises when a shadowy figure slinks from behind a tree, blocking your path. So imagine like P&B Rock, okay? In his hand, he holds what seems to be a self-produced tape on CD. He unleashes a sound that only hell hath known. Baring his gold-plated teeth, he looks ready for a fight. What do you do?
Do I have magic?
No.
Okay. What can I do? Anything?
You have a sword.
I have a sword. Okay.
It's actually more like a pocket knife.
Okay. I try to shiv him with the pocket knife.
All right, make an attack roll. Give me whatever numbers you want.
What?
It's whatever numbers you want.
69.
Oh, you can't do that. This will be up to 20.
19?
Okay, that's pretty good. P&B Rock rolls a 12, so he takes like 7 damage.
Do we actually need to get dice for this to play this properly?
No. Alright, let's start talking about it.
What?
The album.
Oh, the album? I think we should just do this. This is what we should do for the rest of his album.
It's fun.
So wait, what happened?
A shadowy figure came out.
No, at the very end.
We'll find out next week.
Fucking pleb.
Are you interested in the
Yes,
storyline?
this is what we should be doing every week. This is like the best idea you have ever had.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have to get into the lame part, talking about get well soon. Okay, so now we have to do what they call in Theta, setting up the scene.
I just set up the scene.
Different scene. Reality.
Okay.
Scene. At age 13, young Kanye West desperately wanted to become a rapper, and he began to, this is totally true, began to pursue his mother to pay $25 an hour for time in a recording studio that was in a basement, where a microphone was hung from the ceiling by a wire clothes hanger. Kanye's first song was a track called Green Eggs and Ham. Kanye was later introduced to the one and only No ID, and he would later become his mentor. At age 15, Kanye got a sampler, and No ID taught him how to use it. He couldn't have had a better mentor. No ID is probably like perfect. Kanye, after high school, went to American Academy of Art for painting, which I didn't know. And then he switched over to the Chicago State University to study English, and also Chicago isn't a state. I'm just fucking around. And as we all know, he eventually dropped out to work on his music. His mom didn't really support it, but she wanted him to follow his dream.
Thank you, Donda.
Afterwards, Kanye started producing music for Foxy Brown and Goody Mob. And in 2000, this is where we get to the essential part. 2000, he started to produce for Rockefeller Records. He produced several tracks for Jay-Z on the Blueprint. People credit him for revitalizing Jay-Z's career. Blueprint was like his 6th studio album. He would become a in-house producer for Rockefeller. He began producing for artists such as Ludacris, Alicia Keys, Janet Jackson, and Freeway. During this time, Kanye still desperately wanted to be a rapper. That's all he wanted to be in his life, or most importantly, it's the biggest thing he wanted. But no one really saw him as that. And this is kind of like a well-known story at this point. Is no one saw Kanye more as a producer. He wasn't braggadocio. Well, he was, but he was his own type. He was not gangster rap by any means.
No.
And he was charismatic in his own unique way. He had his own personal style, and it kind of tripped people off because it was so different from everything else, and no one really saw it as marketable, or no one ever saw it as unique. He was in talks with Capitol Records, but was denied at like the last minute, and Rockefeller label head at the time, Damon Dash, reluctantly signed Kanye West to Rockefeller Records because he didn't want him signing with anyone else. Jay-Z was really reluctant about it as well. He didn't really see Kanye as more as a producer and anything else than that. Leading us to October 23rd, 2002, a very important moment in Kanye West's life. While driving home from a studio session in California, Kanye fell asleep at the wheel and got in a car accident. He woke up with his jaw at the back of his throat. He had a complete shattered jaw. 2 weeks later, with a shattered jaw, Kanye made Through the Wire, one of the most essential, if not the essential Kanye West song. And that's where it leads us to. So, Get Well Soon is it's a mixtape, and it's Kanye's first mixtape, if not one of his first mixtapes, because some of these mixtapes are kind of hard to find. Kind of scrolling through the internet, you have to like go through the deep dark web to find some of these, but this one's really easy to find, and that's why it's kind of noted as his first mixtape. But Kanye, with a shattered jaw, was working on music, and he was working on The College Dropout, and a lot of the moments that pop up on this mixtape are either tracks we'll hear on College Dropout. There's some original material on here, just like a couple tracks, but a lot of it is just music he produced for other artists, and not just like instrumentals. It's pound for pound just the tracks. So there's a lot of Jay-Z on here. There's a track from 50 Cent. There's
interesting.
There's a lot of like other artists that are not coming to my head at the current moment, but there's a lot. But it also has a lot of bits of history to it too. There's just these live sessions or these live recordings of concert moments that pop up in this record that I found were really interesting. And this album, overall, I did not like it as like just listening to it, because there's a lot of Jay-Z, and as you know, I'm not big on Jay-Z.
I just feel like you're not supposed to like it though.
But like, here's the thing: I don't like it, but I love it as a historical context for Kanye.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Because like these moments, I haven't seen or heard them before, and it's nice to hear them. And just seeing, I think this also sets up some of the development we'll talk about on Graduation. It'll definitely be some of the development we'll talk about on College Dropout. Dropout's actually not behind me. I don't know why I pointed to it. But start off, well, like, I'm just going to talk about the notable moments, because these are not supposed to be full reviews. These are more supposed to be setting up like how Kanye has progressed, the history of Kanye, where do we think these album ranks, what do we like about him, not full on reviews. But there's a lot of Jay-Z on this project and a lot of other artists I do not care for. But the production's fine, because Kanye, I think production...
Well, yeah, that's what he was known for.
This is all old Kanye production, which is some... at least just by himself is some of the better Kanye production, just on his own. So I'm just going to talk about the notable moments. The intro, which has a clip from BET's 106 in Park, where they wish Kanye to get well soon. After his car accident, which is nice. A nice little audio moment that actually has its place on history, which is really cool. Immediately followed by Live from Irving Plaza, New York, which is Talib Kweli. I can never say his name. I don't know why I say it weird, because I can't read. And Mos Def, Talib introduces Kanye, brings him on the stage. Kanye produced music for both Mos Def and Kweli at this point, so they brought him on. He really wanted to be a rapper. They let him do some bars. Mos Def performs as well. It's just a really nice moment. It's not mixed the most well, but it's a live performance, so I'll give him that.
It's not going to be.
But like, it's a nice moment of history. I really enjoy it as a moment of history. We get a snippet of Jesus Walks, which is it's different from what it actually is. It's also like only a minute. It's only a minute snippet. And then we get Through the Wire. Not the album version. It's not as mixed as well as it is on College Dropout. But it's not as well mastered. Has a strange Elton John sample at the end where it's where he says like, I'm gonna get better. I forget what it is.
Oh yeah.
But like, I really enjoy that little moment, because it kind of sets up how Kanye's production was at the time, how he had these like long sample beats, and how he used so much of this production, how his production was very sample heavy, how it was like, by sample heavy, I'm not saying just by using samples, I'm saying like just using a sample over and like almost playing the entire clip, not really doing anything to alter it, not really looping it, just having like the sample play out.
And he continues to do that.
2 Words, which with Mos Def, Freeway, and the Harlem Boys Choir, which later appeared on College Dropout. I'm not going to speak more about that. That's a great track, a great cut from the College Dropout. Pretty much similar to the actual version we got. Live from the Tweeter Center in Illinois. This is when Kanye announced on a part during Jay-Z's set that he was a part of Rockefeller Records. Another great moment of history. This would also follow a bunch of like Jay-Z tracks, so I think it was really fitting in the mixtape as well. Something really interesting that I really enjoy and I want to talk about. The track Home, which essentially just takes verses that would later be on Homecoming on on Graduation, one of our personal favorite Kanye West tracks. But hearing Homecoming in a college dropout setting, because college dropout and Graduation era Kanye's are like vastly different
For sure.
but it's nice to hear like the verses from that over a more soulful beat, a more soulful sample. No, it's kind of, Graduation was pretty sample heavy, but over a more soulful beat, more R&B style beat. I really enjoyed that. It's still a love letter to Chicago. It showed Kanye has his roots there still. And at that time he was living in LA, I think, so it was even more vital from now, because later it actually would be a homecoming for Kanye, but at that point it was more just a love letter because that's what he saw as home. The track My Way, which is just a unique cut that I think is just this project only. It's mixed well. It's a finished track. It's not a snippet or anything. It's not freestyle, and it's just Kanye establishing himself as a unique force. That's what the track's about. He's gonna do shit his way. And that's it. That's it. Overall, not super noteworthy, but because of all the artists. But in the end, it serves as a time capsule for Kanye, his experiences, and his personal history. Overall, not a good project, but it has great moments to it. Through the Wire just is the icing on the cake that this first appeared on this project. Definitely will be outshined by later projects on this list, but for right now, it's technically the best right now. But yeah,
Good job.
technically it's his best right now. So next week, I'm good. That's what we're doing. So that's next week. Stay tuned for next week. I'm really excited for that, because that's more of this college dropout era Kanye. That's like a year before he dropped it, so it's more material from that.
More before he dropped
But
out.
it also has some material that Chance will later sample on Acid Rap, so it already shows his influence. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about for that.
You guys will also find out what happens in the Kanye quest.
I'm really excited for that as well. I think this is a pretty good segment. I came in with the historical background. You came in with the memes. It's only gonna get better when we get into the actual, like, not to say this was a bad, well, it kind of was because it was a compilation, but
it's absolutely necessary to cover.
Yeah, but once we get into like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, ooh, this is gonna be like a fun part.
Oh, I've already got the storyline planned out for that.
I hope we encounter Doom at some point.
You might.
Okay, can
Feel lucky.
we encounter
No.
Okay, never mind. You ready to drink the black milk that's been stuck in your fridge for like 3 months?
Yes.
And it's moldy and we probably shouldn't drink it, but
Yes.
like, let's see what happens, because YOLO or some shit, if that's still a thing.
Yes.
Is that what the kids are saying?
No.
Okay. Black Milk is a rapper producer from Detroit. Fever is his 7th studio album, and pretty much I'm going to this pretty much blind. My only experience with Black Milk is his previous EP, his 2011 EP, collaborative EP with Danny Brown called Black and Brown. I think they flowed well together in that. It wasn't the best Danny Brown I've ever heard in my life, but I liked it overall. I thought it was just a good collaboration between the two. Saw this project was out. I wanted to see, because I like indie hip hop. I like Detroit hip hop, so I was interested to see how that sounds. But overall, this is hip hop I really don't want to hear. I hate to say that. That's just, it is. I think the best part about this album is the production. I think the production with all its guitars, all its synths, all its drums, and some of the horn sections that appear on parts of this album are good. Like, I think the production overall is good. But I think Black Milk as a rapper is nothing to write home about.
No.
And I think that's the weakest part, because I think if you had someone really solid or really narratively solid or anything, or really who was able to give an emotional performance even on these tracks, they would be amazing. But overall, I'm just kind of left just wanting more, and I don't feel like I get enough. I'm going to compare this project a lot to Odyssey, because that project, that artist gives me the same vibe, because I think they make music, at least that's kind of produced the same way, but Odyssey songwriting leaves me wanting more too. At the end, I'm not really satisfied. I feel like there were some good moments, but like I felt like he never lived up to his fullest potential narratively. I feel like the production was good, but like if you're on the track for a purpose, it's just you're kind of roaming. But this, like, to start off, Unveil is just a very lame and lackluster, slow intro. Nothing too distinguishing or exciting, even production-wise. And I just kind of found it generic. Going into But I Can Be, I like how the synths and the guitars blend as like a unified piece. I really enjoyed that. I like the background vocals on the hook. I like the hook. I like how just the hook. I could be wrong. I just think it plays out really good. I think it picks up in its third verse. We see more of a Black Milk like unique style. It's something unique I'm looking for. Something exciting I'm looking for. Still not like super distinctive, like not super out there or anything super unique, I would say.
Attention
grabbing, but it's better. Certainly more better. It Could Be has a beautiful vocal sample with some bass and hi-hat and drum loop. Probably one of the best musical moments on the album production wise. He picks up more with his flows. He fits in with production. It's more distinctive and natural. And I like the verse. Wise man once said the grind can't stop till the cap letters in your name get bigger, till the letters in your name get bigger like caps lock. That's just a good line. Like, I thought that was a really solid line and one of the best moments in his songwriting. But after that, literally the album just goes back and forth in this just like this pattern of just having good production or okay production over these just like very lackluster bars, and nothing really reaches out and grabs my attention, but nothing's necessarily bad, or nothing's necessarily like making me hate this record. But like the only moment I feel like there's two moments after that I feel like really grab my attention. Eve is just a nice, odd little funky interlude.
Eve sounds like Wall-E. Wall-E background music.
Yeah. The synths playing the guitars again. I really enjoy it. I think it's just a short little interlude, and it's fun and exciting. Going to Faux Friend, we finally get something narratively pleasing. Talking about these like breaking friendships, or friendships that become like enemies, friends that become enemies, or friends that become foes. First starting off with these two friends that grew up together. One becomes like this boss character, one becomes this muscle, and eventually leads to just the muscle character getting fucking pulled under the rug by the boss character, and the muscle character just kills him after he cuts his pay, or he doesn't give him all of his cut, essentially. There's a second verse about these two friends. One of them cheats with her boyfriend, and it's not the most super captivating thing ever, but I found it interesting.
At this point,
yeah, I found it a lot more interesting than a lot of the tracks on the album. And then that's it. There's like nothing else to really write home about. I think the production on this it ranges from decent to good. Like, I think there's really strong moments on this, and I can't emphasize enough. But the lyrics is what really holds this back. Like, I feel like almost if this was a production album, it may have been better.
I think if you would have worked with Dabri, would you have liked it better?
I don't know, because Dabri was just all production that was wrong. But like, I think if you just took Dabri's features, it would have been better.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But
I found this album to be unbelievably boring. It probably took me 3 days to get through Drown and Dive. Like, those 2 tracks. I would dare say that really the only redeemable part of this album, like you said, Faux Friend, All Around, that's a really good track. And then the production just all across the board made it listenable. The verses brought nothing to the table for me. Not even the features, and well, there's only like 3.
The features are all pretty much vocals features, and like honestly, they sound like the most generic features you can get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't bring anything new to the table. They don't bring anything interesting that Black Milk couldn't have done himself, or done with an uncredited feature or something.
Yeah. Album just kind of ends like a lot of these projects just kind of do for some reason. I don't know why.
There's no definitive ending, really.
I in the end, I do have at least a positive experience with this album. It didn't just make me angry like Debris. Like I thought Debris, whatever the fuck his name is, DeVry University. I thought his project was just antagonizing at times and just really annoying. This I was able to get through in one sitting. I thought the production was meh to solid. I thought the verses were just meh across the board. Wasn't he put? I feel like he put soul in this project, but I feel like narratively he's not talented as a rapper, and that's his biggest problem. Overall, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. That's personally what I believe, but you probably have something else to say.
I honestly just found it like really boring. Like I said, like best parts, the album cover for sure. It's really bad.
But I don't think it's the worst.
It's really funny because of how it looks like somebody like made a collage on Microsoft Paint. It's like it's not as iconic as The Life of Pablo, but it's in the same ballpark, I would dare say. And then like we said, besides that, production across the board, Faux Friend. Honestly, the production is really the only like redeeming thing on this. It's kind of just borderline whatever for me. I'm gonna have to give it probably a 5.
Okay. So yeah, that's DeVry. That's Black Milk. Don't drink the Black Milk, kids, or you'll make a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 album. That's what happens when you drink too much.
Do not drink the Kool-Aid.
Do not. No, you can drink the Kool-Aid because the Kool-Aid isn't made with the black milk. You don't want to drink that black milk. That's what's killing you. That's what's making these 6 out of 10 albums. It's the black milk. You can't drink that. You gotta drink the white milk or the chocolate milk as long as it's not black. As long as there's not any mold in your fucking milk, you can drink it. But don't drink the black milk because that's just poison.
This is getting ridiculous.
Have you listened to any of our podcasts before? Okay, you ready to US girls? Us girls?
That didn't make any sense.
I don't know. Us girls? You know, us girls?
We are girls.
Yeah. In a poem, unlimited, you know?
Yeah.
In a limited poem?
Yeah.
Spin me some poems right now. Spin me a haiku off the top of your head.
I don't know how many syllables are supposed to go in a haiku.
It's like 3-5-3, right? Or no, 5-7-5. Look up. Let's do some haikus right now.
Okay. How to write a haiku?
5-7-5. Oh, that's right.
5-7-5. Okay.
Okay. Spit me a haiku, boy, because I don't know how syllables work. Never learned. If you actually come up with a haiku, I will actually be impressed. I'll be more impressed than your Kanye quest. I will actually, if you can do this.
Unlimited poems. Hold on. Can the US girls write one? Them? Let's find out, shall we?
I don't know if that's how it worked, but I'm going to give you credit because I couldn't do that. I don't know how poems work. I don't know how haikus work, even though we just read the rules of how haikus work.
That's it.
US Girls is the moniker of American-Canadian pop. No, I'm sorry, I read that weird. American/Canadian noise pop / experimental pop outfit. That's basically a pseudonym of Megan Remy. In a Poem Unlimited is her 8th studio album.
Dang.
And overall, I really like the dark, very political songwriting on this album, but at times it's very hard to get behind the production. That is my introduction into this album.
Ooh,
I think
times.
What?
At times.
Oh, final track's all time. I gotcha.
Yeah, it was god awful.
You need to stop making jokes. That's my duty, to make the jokes that bomb and get the cricket sound effect.
That was a good one.
Oh, was it? It was a good one.
All right, move on.
I trust you. Yeah. It was a good one. I'm just improving your self-esteem.
Thanks.
It was a good one.
Thank
I laughed a lot. Like, I didn't laugh outside, but I laughed on the inside.
Thank you.
Okay. But, so yeah, I really like the dark political lyrics that are on this album. It covers a lot of very political and kind of edgy. I don't want to say edgy because I don't think
some of it's
edgy. Like, I associate edgy now with just like white dudes. It's all I can associate edgy now. Like Lou the Human, he's edgy. Will Toledo on Twins Fantasy,
really edgy.
He's pretentious and edgy. Who else? There's a lot of edgy white dudes out there. We can probably come up with like 100 more examples. But yeah, just edgy. I don't think she's as edgy, but her political, it's just very political, I would say. Very, very in your face about it. I want to compare this project to Tune Yards. And I know you're gonna hate me for saying this, but like I don't think musically this is like Tune Yards, but song wise, I think they share some commonalities. Tune Yards is way more annoying, but like that's what we love about them, is that they're annoying.
Yeah.
And very catchy. This is not. It's catchy at times, but this is way more up in your face about it. Whereas Tune Yards, it hides it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see everything. And that's what I liked about I can feel you creeping into my private life. I don't know why I said, get out of there. Get out of my private life.
Get out.
But this, it's very open-ended. And when it's not open-ended, I'm lost. If that makes sense. Because you give me a silver platter of, like, lyrics, and then you take it away for something completely different that has nothing, like for something completely different that's not even really political. And I feel like you were giving me some songwriting I was really digging, and that one style I felt like you were doing really well, and you just kind of take it away, and like I'm lost. So I feel that a lot on this, not a lot, but I feel that on multiple moments. I feel like the first two tracks, set up this album really nicely. I really love the introduction track. Velvet for Sale. I don't know why I said everything else. I just love how it's. I think to quote her about what the track's about, I read an article with her where she said, "Men are lucky. Women and children have yet to take up arms, and although I hope this never happens, and I completely disagree that violence is ever effective, this very idea was right for a song." So basically, it's about like a retaliation of men kind of abusing women and children, and them just kind of being like, yeah, we're fucking sick of this shit, we're sick of your shit, and coming back. I like the visuals that she predicts, or she gives over the entire track. The cock and pole get the old boys dancing. Then she said the recoil is the celebration, the blood like oil spilling on the floor. And this track with the chorus and its horns and its guitar is just it's good. Like, this is a good opener to the album. Rage of Plastic, it's not like that. It's just not. It's not
like a
able.
bad Bjork track.
It's not able to find up. It reminds me of Young Americans era David Bowie, which is era of David Bowie I really don't care for personally. I know a lot of people love that era of Bowie, but personally I don't. We get back into Ma. I'm just gonna call it that from now on, which is I'm gonna give her credit for this because I think she deserves a lot of credit. She gave a fucking critique of President Obama that wasn't completely asinine. Like, because usually when people critique Obama, it's like the most fucking asinine thing in the fucking world. They always go to like the birth certificate or any shit like that. She actually has like valid critiques.
Yeah.
I think Obama's kind of like a touch and go president on whether he was good or not. But like, I think she has very valid critiques of his presidency, and she gives us good songwriting that matches it. The track gives me like a weird Blondie vibe. Maybe I'm the only person that thinks that, but like I think it's just that kind of sound of pop music that I'm just getting that vibe from.
That's like the whole vibe I got over the entire album.
Blondie.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Gwen Stefani, Blondie, Madonna. When I have the floor, I'll get more into it, I think.
But one of my favorite moments my favorite moments on this album is her lyrics on this track where she said, "We watched your hair go gray, that stressfully manly shade. You wore it well. No one could tell the situation was hell." She's talking about his hair slowly turning into gray.
What did you look at that?
Yeah, no. And I love it. I love that visual. And then followed by this one is just completely fucking hilarious. As you were the first in line to use those bugs up high, obviously talking about drones, those cowards' weapons of choice, but you got that winner smile and you know how to leave them moist. Such like a dark humor to that line, and I absolutely love it. It's a solid critique. It's also a very dark humor line. Mm-hmm. Very fucking excellent, very catchy, very political track. I think it's really good. This little interlude that pops up, I want to give some credit to. Why do I lose my voice when I have something to say? When I was going through the track list, I was actually hoping this was gonna cover some of the same ground as a track Jeff Rosenstock covered on Post. Your throat, how when it's most urgent, you can't really find the words to say, or you can't say them. I was hoping that she was going to cover that on this track, but in the end we get this like really raw, like 20-second interlude of her voice that is really squeaky, really gross. I think she lost her voice. And it's basically she did lose her voice. I don't know why I sound like a jackass today. It's probably because I'm just a jackass in general. But I like the realism of the skit. I don't know. I think it fits there's a statement.
It's like a good companion track to Your Throat, I think.
I wish it was an entire track. I don't know. Not that she sang that entire track, but I wish there was a companion piece to that track, because I feel like that topic's very common, but we don't hear enough about it. Mm-hmm. Especially in this day and age. But then we get into like tracks like Rosebud, which I just don't care for overall, but it's immediately like counter-reacted with Incidental Boogie. Great title for a track. I don't know why I love that track title so much.
Incidental Boogie.
Because I just think of Boogie Brock Hansen, and I think of like an incident of when Boogie was too much.
Chobo lost a finger.
He lost all of his glorious pink hair. It has a nice spoken word intro, and this track goes fucking dark. Like it goes. This is where it gets. I would say you could say edgy, but I think it's very political and has a lot to say about gender and how men are assholes, or how partners are assholes in general. I need a partner to creep in and feel his steed. Life has made no sense without a beating, you see, and life was just too quiet without no one screaming at me. And then the incidental boogie grabbed a hold of me, and I got myself a real man who doesn't hit that hard, so I can still do my job. But now I got this man to show me that I'm all wrong. He hits me left, he hits me right all the time, but no marks, no evidence to see. Don't you know these days I feel so lucky. To be brutalized means you don't have to think, and life is easy when there's only pain to compete. That's fucking crazy. It's not good. Like these it's like a bad scenario, but lyrically it's genius, I would say. Like, I don't want to condone this like behavior that's on these tracks, but like lyrically it's genius. It's like taking a bad scenario and like writing it down. This kind of like feeling of like being lost in this pain, but it's kind of like the only thing you know, and you don't know where else to go, so you kind of like get stuck in it. I like how she's able to explain that. I think it's a very political track. I think it's a very well spoken for, up in your face, very easy to read, brilliant track. I think that there's really strong songwriting on this, but I'm disappointed that this entire project is not like that. Because after this, we don't really get, besides Pearly Gates, we don't get a moment that like even comes close to beating this. Lover or L Over, it's kind of about this like faulty relationship. It's not as exciting. It's not,
Especially coming off of something like that.
production wise, exciting. It's not catchy. There's nothing to it that gets in. We get in Pearly Gates again. It's this like dip where it's like we get from a mad track to a really good track and back to a mad track. Pearly Gates has some great songwriting to it. It's not really political as a lot of others, but I think it's just as equally brilliant in a sense. I'm just gonna read it because I think it's great. But like some roadside vet with a bag in my hand, I could do anything, St. Peter asked. For one chance to be an angel in his eyes, it seemed to be the safe bet. So I closed my eyes and opened my gates wide, and St. Peter came inside. Brilliant. It's fucking dark humor at its finest, and yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say about that track except for it's fucking catchy as all hell. Gives me vibe of like Gwen Stefani, a lot of like 90s, 2000s,
No doubt.
90s, 2000s pop music, and I think kind of like what Ria Samayama did on Rina, her EP. I think the production of that track fits that style she was going for to a T. I wish the rest of the album was like that production wise, but I think after this point, Poem and Time do not live up to like the hype. We get a little short interlude, which is I have nothing to write home about, nothing to complain about either, because it's only like 10 seconds. But Poem, I like the arpeggiated synth, but it's talking about how we got here in society. But like it's nothing exciting. Like it's not anywhere near where any of the previous tracks were there. It wasn't formatted as any of the previous tracks. It's not as fun. It's just I don't feel like, cause like in these tracks, they're catchy, they're fun, but they're dark, they're political. It's this like weird warship thing. That's why I compared them to Tune Yards, because I feel like Tune Yards is like that. Maybe they're not as dark, but they're very political tracks that are very catchy. This is just not that. Time, the 7-minute closer to this, is too long, not exciting at all, not clever, no interesting production. I don't know why like that was the ending.
Time reminds me of if you ever go to like a county fair, if you ever go to like a festival and they have like a cover band there, and the person might tell them like, okay, you guys have one song left, and they'll be like, let's do Freebird, but like 6 times, and we're gonna extend the guitar solo at the end for a half an hour. And so their last song ends up being like super long. That's what this reminds me of. Or they'll like do a medley of really long, like guitar heavy songs, and that'll be their last song.
Yeah.
That's what Time is.
Yeah.
It's like, how much jamming can we do in 7 minutes?
And it's a disappointment because it's like a slow and boring, lyrically unpleasing, productionally unpleasing ending to such a well-written and well-spoken for album for the most part, I would say. Yeah. It just puts a damper on anything. This album's 30-something minutes. I don't think it needed to be longer, but I think there needed to be more material here, similar to Velvet for Sale, similar to Ma, similar to Incidental Boogie, similar to Pearly Gates. Those are like the highlight moments. Incidental Boogie, brilliant fucking track. Pearly Gates, brilliant fucking track. But the rest of this is either kind of bland. Like, I think Rage of Plastic is okay overall. I think Roseblood and, like, Lover are okay overall. But, like, Poem and Time are just boring. I don't know what to feel about this album. I don't know what to rate it. Because I do, like, the moments I fucking love. And I think they're just brilliant. But, like, when it's just boring towards the end. That's just hard to finish. I think I'm gonna give this a 7, and I know a lot of people are gonna complain about that because a lot of people love this album. I wish I loved this album. I wish I loved the end. I wish I loved Poem. I wish I loved Time, and I wish I was wrong and for thinking that. But I don't. It's like Poem and Time are the 2 worst tracks on this album, and they just ruin it. Even if they weren't there, I think this album's kind of flip-floppy with going into Velvet for Sale, Rage of Plastic, going to Rosebud is just flip-floppy songwriting-wise. Nothing really super consistent. That's all I gotta say. I want to hear more from US Girls in the future. I want to hear more of this style. I want to hear more fucking witty, fucking political, fucking just brilliant songwriting that they give us. I know she's capable of doing this. I believe in her. She's taking these terrible situations and turning into genius work. And I don't know how she's able to do it. It probably took a lot out of her to write this. But the rest of the album does not compare to those moments. And I want more of them. The darkest moments on the album are my personal favorite, weirdly enough, on this pop album. And I think that's what makes US Girls such a strange anomaly. It's just because the darkest moments are the best for this pop band. I don't know. But I feel a 7 out of 10 overall. I'm a bit disappointed. Well, I am disappointed overall, I would have to say. I think just saying a bit undersells everything I just said. But I know you feel probably a lot more heavier on this than I did. But I'm gonna let you have the floor.
Okay, so to start out, that was a long review. I'm gonna make mine pretty brief. Overall, I really enjoyed some of these moments on the track or on the album. MAH with Barack Obama's nobody ever talks about that,
Yeah, no.
It's things that people don't talk about often, and I really enjoyed that track. I thought Pearly Gates was catchy as all get out. I really liked that track. It gets stuck in my head a lot. But the rest of the track, or the rest of the albums, I guess production-wise, reminded me a lot of ABBA. And ABBA is a band that I enjoy, but sometimes they're just really synthesized, kind of cheesy songs are just too much for me. They almost make me sick to my stomach, just sickly sweet. They give me a headache, Yeah. I can't listen to them for a long time, and that's kind of what this album was for me. It's just a lot of.
Wait, you don't like listening to Dancing Queen on loop for 3 hours?
I like Dancing Queen.
You like listening to it on a loop?
My girlfriend has ABBA Gold in her car, which is brilliant album, completely understated. Brought ABBA back into the limelight, so they wouldn't be remembered as just a cheesy band, because they had a lot of really great hits. But I can't stand to listen to that album for more than a couple tracks, or else I will just melt. It's you know what I'm saying?
I think I found your weakness.
It's too much. Too much of a sickly sweet, super synthesized sound.
Okay. Can that be my weapon in Kanye Quest?
ABBA?
ABBA Gold, and it makes people melt.
Yes.
Okay. That's my weapon of choice
it's
now.
A sword.
Completely unrelated.
Boombox on it.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, watch our Kanye Quest. Or listen to that. If you're just individually watching this US Girls review, but sorry.
But overall, I'd have to say this album's just a gigantic letdown, especially coming off of the single Pearly Gates. And you listen to tracks like MAH or Incidental Boogie, I think is lyrically heavy, but I don't like the production or the melody of it. Those are 2 moments that are far between on this album. One's at the beginning, one's towards the end, with just a lot of ABBA filler in the middle of it, and it's boring for me. And then you go straight from Pearly Gates up here, nosedive into the ground, just careening into the cement with tracks like Poem, Traviata, and Time. I struggle to give this album any more than a 4.75. I just didn't like it. Pearly Gates, MAH, great tracks. Like, definitely listen to them because I think I will be I will still be listening to them in the months to come. But overall, the rest of it is just a huge disappointment for me. I almost felt like I was sold on something that it actually wasn't.
Okay. And that's our review of Us Girls. That's the name of the band.
You and me.
You and me, yeah. We made this album, right?
We Girls.
We Girls. I'm going to leave it there. So, what's next week?
We got...
What did you... no, I'm actually... That was a rhetorical question.
Oh.
Just for me.
I was going to help.
Do you want to, read it? I have them out on my phone.
Sure.
We go switch it up. Switch it up this week. You got to give them a cool introduction.
Okay, next week, we're going to be reviewing the host of Destroy, Build, Destroy on
I was hoping you were going to
Network,
say that.
Andrew WK's new album, You're Not Alone.
Okay. Let's predict what score are we gonna give that album.
Okay, so the single was decent, and I think that the rest of it will just be dumb fun. Like almost like
I'm saying
it's like when you mix a Mountain Dew, a Four Loko, and a Monster Energy drink into one, and stir it around with a spoon, like a Nesquik chocolate milk drink, and it's just gonna be hype, but probably not have a lot of content.
Yeah, no, Four Loko is just alcohol at this point. Did you know that? They took out the energy drink part.
Yeah, that's why I added the Monster.
Yeah, that's why I thought.
Yep.
7.
Okay.
I'm just predicting.
Okay.
I'm just like, well, this is a new segment. We're doing new shit.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. It could be bad. It could be trash. It could be a 2. But I like the singles so far. I thought they were fun. Remind me a lot of Jeff Rosenstock, but Jeff Rosenstock was more metal, or kind of hybrid metal. I don't know how to describe Andrew WK.
After that, we're going to watch the best movie in the trilogy, Godfather 2, starring Wiley. It's probably going to be really grimy, really dirty, and we're probably going to have to take at least 5 showers.
No,
individually.
We're going to need, what is that? Beneflu? The vitamins that you pour into your water bottle. What is that?
Airborne.
We're gonna have to eat some of that because we're going. As I said a couple weeks ago, we're just gonna go out, find a dumpster.
I'm gonna get tetanus.
Lick it. We're gonna lick this dumpster. We're
gonna
lick
be
the
good.
grimiest fucking dumpster imaginable. It follows the pattern of Godfather movies. Should be better than the original.
Yes. After that, Screaming Females all at once. We've heard some good stuff about this.
All the female,
just every woman in the world is just yelling
all at once,
all at one time, and I think it'll be probably good.
Who's your favorite screaming female?
That's like asking who my favorite woman in the world is.
Yes, you could literally just name off anyone.
Maggie Adams of Cedar Rapids.
That's good.
She's really good.
Yeah.
And then after that, we are going to Bad Not Good's Bag of Tricks, longtime collaborator Charlotte Day Wilson's new album, Stone Woman. It's literally just a statue. It's just silence. But statues can't talk, except for at night, kind of Night at the Museum style. Mm-hmm. Then there'll be a little bit of talking.
Yeah, you did a good job. I think you should do this for further projects.
Thank you.
Further episodes. I trust you with more now, I guess. Okay, until next time, guys, make sure you like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iTunes, and Spotify. That's a lot. And if you want to submit a question for next week's episode, there's a link in the description.
And please do that.
There's a link in the description. You're watching YouTube and Facebook. It takes you to Google Doc, but just send us comments or Facebook message us or tweet us or you can spray paint Trevor's house with a question. That's preferable. That's a new one. Yeah. Because usually I try to get your house in on the action.
You can leave a genius comment and we'll probably find it.
A couple weeks later. What was that one genius comment on the NGMT? Fantastic, wasn't it? Or something. It was on James. Or something like that. No, it was me and Michael. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Someone left it. It was just completely stupid. That's a nonsensical thing I just said. Does not matter. Our theme song is produced by our big friend DJ Quest. Our intro song is called No Sleep, and our outro song is called Reply. There's links to the songs in the description if you're watching YouTube, Facebook. No SoundCloud jokes. This has been episode 28 of the, like how I no-sold that, because the new year, no SoundCloud jokes.
Beef.
No
New year, no beef.
No beef. This has been episode 28 of the Anthony and Todd Show, an episode we would like to call
I have drank the black milk that was in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast.
Till next time, guys. See ya.
See you guys.